Let's do this. Man, am I excited. Welcome back to the Wellness Farmer podcast, where your health is our focus. I take what has become too complex and help you by simply focusing on where health is found inside of you. How do we empower ourselves to feel our best? With chiropractic care, eating nutrient-dense food grown on fertile soil without chemicals, adequate movement, and natural internal dialogue. On this podcast, I put emphasis on growing your own food and storing it using the permaculture and modern survivalism lifestyles. And on today's episode 199, can you believe we're on episode 199? I can't. I am not talking about the wonderful world of soil and growing your own food. Even though my main focus is on growing your own food, there are other aspects of health that are also extremely important. So every 6 months, you can see I get an infusion of energy because there's something that happens every 6 months, and I love it, and I wait for those moments. And today I'm going to talk about some of the things that I listened to over this past weekend. And there's an aspect of health that if not resolved, can cause us so much unnecessary pain. A lot of our suffering can be completely avoided. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I listened to over the weekend. Not going to want to miss this one. Today's actually October 11th, 2018, and I am Ben Page, your host. And just a couple things before we get into the main content. Join my email list if you haven't, so you never miss an episode. Go to pastosvertedesfarm.com, and there you can join my email list. And not only will you never miss an episode, you get the first couple of chapters free of my book, so you can check it out. And you also get some other neat little articles that I wrote, all for free. So go join my website so you can get my website. Go join my email list so you can actually get all that stuff. Again, you can do that at pastosvertedesfarm.com. That's my website. And don't forget that I started a video series about a month ago, or maybe more than that, where I'm showing my little teeny urban garden, you can call it, and the progress I'm making, my failures, what I do right, and it's all on video so we can learn together. So if you want to see those videos, and I also talk about health, Tanya, also, it's also very important to talk about that stuff, but it's more of just a show of what I'm doing at this little teeny place inside the city, trying to grow as much food as I can. So go and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. And then you can also follow me on Facebook, Pastos Verdes Farm, and also on Instagram, Ben Page DC, where I also share other things that you're not going to be getting on the podcast. So go check those out. And while we're at it, can you please go to iTunes and rate and review this podcast? It takes 5 minutes. And if you're at your computer, that's all you got to do. You just go to iTunes and rate and review this podcast. Let me know what you think. And most importantly, ways you can kind of help me out. No, of course, it's not the most important thing. But if you haven't ordered my book yet, go to Amazon.com. Get a copy of my book for yourself, for your family, and for anyone that really wants to know the philosophy of where true health is found. Also, if you get anything out of this podcast and you want to give me some back, go to my website, Pastor Verdes Farm. On the right side, there's a button that's called Patreon. Click on that, and you can actually give back just a little bit if you are getting value out of this. So if you want to give some back, if you feel like you're getting value out of this podcast and you'd like to give some back, that's where you can do it. Perfect. Well, let's get into the main content. So like I said at the beginning, every 6 months I get to hear some very smart, inspirational, and spiritually strong people. And all for free. It is so awesome. And not only that, I can go back and watch them whenever I want. And I also get all the transcripts of what they said, and I can read them whenever I want, and all for free. I mean, I can't imagine what some people pay to go to conferences where they get to listen to very smart, inspirational, and spiritually strong people. It's just great. And every 6 months, I get to enjoy it. So over this last weekend, I was able to enjoy 4 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday. And like I said, every 6 months, I get to enjoy these really inspirational speakers that are very spiritually strong. So those that have listened to me for some time, and of course, all you new listeners too, welcome, and know that health is a positive in everybody's life. Even if at the moment you do not have health, or you don't feel healthy, health is a positive. Health is something we decide, and it isn't just one decision. No, it isn't just the decision to be healthy. No, health comes from healthy decisions that we make many times every day. Every decision we make every day is either moving us toward health, moving us closer to health, or closer to the opposite. So sickness is the negative. Health is positive. So if you are sick and want to be healthy, you must think in terms of health. You focus on health, not sickness. You don't look to relieve a symptom. You decide to live a more healthy lifestyle by doing what the body does, by giving the body what it needs, and then the body does the rest, and you heal and you return to health. So focus on health, not sickness. This is a subconscious thing where you have to tell yourself daily 100 times that you are healthy. It must be me before it can be. Something I just kind of made up. It must be me before it can be. So then acting on those daily thoughts of you being healthy. How do I become healthy? Well, you focus on moving more, eating better, sleeping better, talking to yourself better, and getting help from a coach that can guide you and treat the physical stress of that lack of motion in articulations in joints, or in other words, a chiropractor that understands health. So after you start to do all of that, your body will do all the hard work and you will return to health as your body is designed to do. But what is usually the hardest part for most people, not all, but most, is that natural internal dialogue, that talk to yourself in a natural way, talk to yourself in the proper way, which includes what you think and believe about other people also. People that might have offended you or did something that hurt you. Many times it's not even knowing they did it, but it happens and we become offended. And we must realize that we all go through these times, these hard times. There's not anyone that has not gone through a hard time. There's no one except going through hard times. There's not anyone that is not going to be offended by someone. You can't tell me that no one's been offended by nobody. Of course, there are people that have learned to talk to themselves so naturally that when people do things or say things, they're just not offended anymore. Today, they're not offended, but that was not how it was before. It's something that is developed over time by being offended in the past and getting over it, being offended again and getting over it, being offended again and letting it go. So developing this natural internal dialogue even when people around you are making it even just a little bit more difficult. So many times we go through these times to be able to help others more authentically. That's something I heard over the weekend. Many times we go through these times to be able to help others more authentically. One of the things that they said is someone actually had leukemia, and he had to have leukemia so he could teach with authenticity. Think about that. How he takes what could be a major downfall, something that could really bring you down, and he says, no, this helps me teach with more authenticity. But what happens many times is instead of using our hard times to teach with authenticity, we blame our circumstances on other people or things or situations, and that is not the answer. The answer is we can and we must find joy when we go through hard times. Find the reason why we are going through that hard time, because there's always a way to come out better on the other side. A lot of the times we make those harder times linger for days, months, and in some cases years, because we can't let go or because we can't forgive. Many times we not only make those hard times linger or we suffer for no real reason, but we can cause pain to others by letting that linger. True pain can only be felt in the present. Any pain that is supposedly felt by past events or possible future events is our imagination, and it's making us suffer for no reason. I love the quote by the stoic philosopher Senaca where he says, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary. Almost always, that pain we feel is due to anger. But we need to remember that anger, if not restrained, is frequently more destructive than the injury that provoked it. We need to keep our anger at bay. Because once we hurt one person in the family, they could be hurting for years. There was a neat story that they gave about how a father, he was offended by one event. And by that one event, it changed the dynamic of his family for over 15 years. And finally, his two kids came together and went to him. He's like, "Hey, Dad, you're an awesome dad. You raised us awesome, but there's something missing." And they told him that they wanted to return to a life they were living 15 years before the whole transaction with that one person caused a complete change. So he felt offended, but affected his family for the next 15 years. So we can each recite past painful scars that can corrode someone's heart. Your heart may feel tough. It's not easy. Those painful scars of the past. But we need to realize that if we cause that painful, or if we're the recipient of those pains, those wounds, they need to be healed. So life can be what it should be. We have to let those go. Those grievances have reached their expiration date. Other great quotes that I got from this last weekend. Those grievances have reached their expiration date. So let us not burden our remembrance with a heaviness that is gone. We must forgive all men. Great quotes that are giving me that strength to continue on. So forgive in spite of the imperfections of others. Live with others in love with no disputations. Cease to contend with others. Care for one another. If you have an old wound, heal it. Be peacemakers. Love peace. Seek peace. Create peace. One more time. Be peacemakers. Love peace. Seek peace. And create peace. Find the strength to forgive and forget and to heal and be happy. Don't let your wrath go down with the sun. Again, that does not mean that you can't feel true pain and real sorrow from a shattering experience that you had from another, or that you have caused another person. That does not mean that. We can feel pain in the present. But another great thing I learned: you who let little misunderstandings linger from year to year, you who keep quarrels alive because you can't make up your mind that now is the day to sacrifice your pride and settle them, you who are letting a heart ache, searching for a word of appreciation or sympathy, go instantly and do that thing, because you might never have a chance to do it. Forgiving others is central to this life. But not only forgiving, but giving words of appreciation or sympathy is also central to this life. So again, if you're letting a heart ache that is searching for a word of appreciation or sympathy, go and give that word of appreciation. So if we're meek and we're courageous enough to pursue reconciliation to God and others, it will bring tranquility to the soul. The healer of every wound, he that rights all wrong, he asks us to labor with him with the daunting task of peacemaking in a world that will not find it in any other way. In what ways can we help? Again, explaining our misunderstandings in a way where they are understood. Settling quarrels and giving that word of appreciation or sympathy to that aching heart. In other words, forgive and forget. Another great way to help is by focusing on your real strengths and understanding your weaknesses. That is how we work together. That is how we will bring peace together with our strengths. And I'm not necessarily talking about our areas of existing skills. I'm talking about traits like resilience, determination, patience, being able to focus, agility, humility as strengths, and qualities like stubbornness, intellectual laziness, doing things just to be noticed, and procrastination as weaknesses. We have one life to live, and it is way too short to let these little misunderstandings linger, or to keep quarrels alive, or to not say that word of appreciation for that aching heart. This last weekend has opened my eyes again to the importance of being a peacemaker. I personally feel our spiritual health is the most important aspect of health. If we are spiritually healthy, emotional health and physical health just kind of follow along. So one more time, don't let little misunderstandings linger. Don't keep quarrels alive. And if you know an aching heart, go and say that word of appreciation to that person so we can all live our lives just a little bit better, one episode at a time. Well, I hope you liked this episode. And if you did, share it, please. And let me know what you want to listen to so I can focus on your needs. Let me know by an email, Instagram, Facebook. Let me know. Until next time, well, let's keep it real.